everyone, Mark here, back again with another video. Welcome back to the channel if you're a regular, or welcome to Grand Blog Gizmo if you're not. Today I've got a few hours to myself. It's just after lunch, about 1:30, and I've got to be back in time for dinner with the children at 5. So 3.5 hours to kill really. And what I've decided to do is just take the Jaguar and my camera equipment, my action cameras, and just go for a bit of a scenic drive really. So I was kind of looking for a bit of inspiration, and I found this old book called Backroads Great Britain. It's like a DK book. I'm not sure if they still sell it, but I've got it years ago, just second hand I think. And there's a few drives in there all around the country, but there's one which I want to sort of pick up part of today, because the tours I think are sort of 1 or 2 days rather than an afternoon's worth. But it's essentially going from Chichester to Beachy Head, all through the South Downs and Brighton and things. I haven't got time to do all of that today, so we'll probably pick it up near Petworth and see how much of the drive we can do before we have to head back. If I can get to Beachy Head, that'll be brilliant. I might miss out the Brighton bit because it's bound to be busy, but if we can get to Beachy Head, which is where I took the MG actually not too long ago, for a bit of a blast around Sussex, with some drone footage and stuff. That was quite a nice drive, but we're in the Jag today obviously. See how much we can do. I've just passed through some of my local towns, so Reigate, and I'm just about to come up to Dorking and then head south on the A24 towards Petworth. I don't really know the most optimum route down there because I haven't put it in sat-nav or anything, so I quite like to try and find my own way places. You do a bit of exploring and you learn a bit more then, rather than just blindly following sat-nav instructions. So I'll see how we get on the route there, and then we'll pick it up probably around Petworth and begin our tour of the South Downs. Right, we're just driving through Petworth now, which seems to be a very nice and quaint village. I did make a slight wrong turn and came out of the town a bit early. I'm just going back through it again now, and it's very narrow streets, surrounded by lovely countryside. So we've got to try and figure out the right way to go through here. I'm not sure if you can see out the windows here, the little quaint shops and things like that. Did try and park up in the town, but it's just one of those places where parking is a bit of a premium, so not really much opportunity to do that. But I did take a little shot of the car on a country road on the way back into town, and it's yeah, beautiful really, surrounding countryside. So the idea now then is to head eastwards towards Brighton, I guess, and the places beyond there. So Beachy Head is the kind of ultimate goal of this trip. But yeah, I don't know how far we're going to get through that, because we're an hour in, and I mean there's only 2.5 hours left, and I've got to leave some time for getting home. So what I'll do is I'll pull over in a sec, and I'll get the front-facing camera set up, and that means I can bring you some of the views as we drive along. So we're on our way out of Petworth now, and I'm driving down a road which is supposed to go through Duncton, then on to Sutton, and then Bury, which is kind of the way in which the book says to go. But because those towns are quite small, they're not really signposted as such, so I'm just kind of having a guess and going in that general direction. But what I guess the point is that you're exploring the sort of surrounding countryside and the South Downs, and there are points of interest which, if you were going to do this tour properly over a couple of days, you'd stop and you'd visit these towns and things. But for our purposes, we're just going to be making the most of the country roads and seeing if there's any nice views and stuff, and maybe the odd place to take a picture of the car. I did mention that the weather had brightened up a bit, but it's now gone overcast again, so it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag I think in terms of what we get out of today weather-wise, and that's actually got me thinking about the rest of the year. I suppose we kind of had the last of the summer sun, I think, and we're going to have only the rare opportunity to get out in fine weather with our classics and other cherished vehicles. as the salt gets spread on the roads, I think trips like this might be few and far between, but we just have to see what lays in store for us this winter. But anyway, I'm going to try and make the most of today and see what we can see. I think I've taken another wrong turn and we're going through another small town here, but in the same general direction that I wanted to go, so might have to deviate a bit from what the tour in the book says, but I guess that doesn't matter too much as long as we make progress. Like I said before, lovely scenery around here, and the little towns and things seem idyllic, picture postcard-esque. Amazing up here, great views. Have to pan the outside camera over. I don't know if that will come out at all, but just on the top of this ridge along the South Downs, and you see for miles. So we just drove through Steyning, which was quite a nice town, quite oldie-woldy, again like Petworth was. And I stopped briefly outside of a fairly sort of typical looking village church, I suppose, and took a quick snap of the Jag. But what I'm struggling to find is actually parking spaces in these towns to be able to get a photo, because there's so many nice old shop fronts. I don't know what sort of time period they are, but you know, that sort of Tudor looking style, but just nowhere to park to be able to take a photo of it, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, carrying on now, next few towns are Upper Beeding and then Henfield, I think, before just carrying on really. Time is almost 3:30, so running out of time fast, only an hour and a half before I need to be home. I probably need to leave about an hour to get home, as it took me an hour to get to Petworth, but we shall see what happens. Okay, so you might have noticed that I'm now in a different outfit, and it's in fact a week later than when I left the video from the last scene. So that day I just simply ran out of time to get to where I wanted to get to, and today I was thinking, oh, maybe what I'll do is I'll start the journey again, maybe even start from Chichester rather than Petworth. But the weather today is absolutely terrible, but I didn't want to waste the sort of journey that I've done so far, so I thought what I'll do is I'll pick it up at Henfield, which is where I'm just entering now, and continue the journey to Beachy Head, even though the weather is a little bit worse here. The problem that I've just noticed setting up all the camera equipment is that I've actually left my GoPro, which is normally the camera facing forward, while I have this one facing this way. I've left charging at home in my sort of haste to get out the door, so we kind of we'll have to change up the camera angles a bit, but it might not be quite as good as before. But we'll just have to see how we get on there. So while I'm here, I may as well give a bit of a channel update. So at the time of filming this, I'm just about to cross the 2,000 subscriber level, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who does subscribe to the channel. I don't often ask for subscribers because I think people can make up their own minds, but anyone who subscribes and is a regular watcher then is very much appreciated, and really encourages me to do these videos, and I really enjoy doing them. This is my hobby, so it's great to get that sort of validation that people are enjoying them too. So to mark the occasion of getting 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a bit of a longer trip in the XK8, probably either next weekend or the weekend after, and that'll be a longer trip, probably still in one day, so a GT in a day style trip like I did to Wales earlier on in the year, but it'll be a slightly different challenge this time, hopefully a bit more ambitious, and we'll see some good stuff. This is all sort of weather permitting and making sure plans work out and coronavirus lockdown not increasing. So I'm hoping to bring that to you in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it'll be a good way to sort of mark that 2,000 subscriber milestone. Anyway, this trip, we've just gone through Henfield and we're on the way now towards Ditchling, taking a bit of a scenic route. So what I might end up doing is, rather than you just looking at my face the whole time, I'll have to stop, rearrange the camera situation so you can see out the front, and then I'll bring you some of these more scenic roads, albeit in pretty awful weather. So the great thing about this route is that you kind of crisscross the South Downs as you kind of make your way from town to town, and that's really gives you a chance to explore some of these magnificent views, like just popping over the crest of a hill and then seeing like wonderful countryside beyond is such a treat. And I think, you know, this sort of stuff is on a lot of people's doorsteps and they don't really know it's there. And certainly I haven't really driven out this way before, and it's something which I'm probably going to do a lot more of as you know, as time goes on. I'm going to try and explore some of these more scenic areas, because all I've really done is driven through the South Downs National Park, or whatever it's called, on the way to Brighton, because Brighton, you know, being a sort of tourist attraction and stuff, that's kind of the main place to go. But you know, all of this stuff just waiting around the corner to drive around is yeah, a bit of a hidden gem really. Okay, so we've just driven through Ditchling, which is in the book, and you go through Ditchling on the way down to Brighton, which is kind of the direction I'm heading now. The problem with going to Brighton is that it is very popular for sort of tourists and shoppers and those kind of folks, and there's a lot of traffic as a result of that, and I don't really want to be stuck in traffic for most of the morning. So what I'll do is I might head that way and then maybe cut a corner off. So if you were doing this route yourself and you've never been to Brighton before, then it's worth stopping there, although it is busy. Otherwise, if you've been to Brighton, then you'll know that it is quite a lot going on, and probably want to cut it out of a route if you're short on time. So what we might do is maybe if we cut the corner off and go sort of down towards the marina perhaps, rather than the town itself, and then carry on the route in the book over towards Lewes, and then on to Beachy Head. Okay, so I did ignore my own advice, and I'm actually driving into Brighton now. I just thought it was worthwhile coming down here just to show a bit of the interesting architecture and stuff. In particular, hopefully what's round the corner is the Royal Pavilion building. The building straight ahead is actually a church, but it's a bit further along to the Royal Pavilion, which, for anybody unfamiliar with Brighton, it kind of looks like a mini Taj Mahal in a way, that kind of style dome on the top. But yeah, as predicted, it is quite busy around here.
Continue on A23 for half a mile.
Okay, well hopefully you'll be able to see this. I've had to turn the camera at a bit of a funny angle to get the building in the shot as I drive past. Just over there.
In 200 yards, keep right to continue on Old Stye.
Oh well, if you didn't see it, then I'll put a picture up of it anyway. So having taken a left at Brighton Pier, I'm now on a road which goes towards Brighton Marina, but it runs parallel to at a road which is kind of on the seafront called Madeira Drive. You might have heard of Madeira Drive as a place where quite a lot of car meets happen, and not so much now, I don't think, but it used to be a little bit of a drag strip back in the day along the seafront there, and people used to bring their sort of souped up cars to have a bit of a race along the seafront. This is what I love about Brighton and the British coastline in general, is when you have old sort of mansion villa type apartments and houses and things right on the seafront. Really cool. It's these big grand places. I mean, some of them have fallen into disrepair now, as you know, prices of houses have gone up and down and places become more or less desirable over the years, but I still think they look fairly spectacular. I'll see if I can move the camera around to sort of show them a bit better. Then you get these squares set back from the sea, where there's like a garden in the middle and all these massive houses or flats around the outside. Really cool. I think they're similar in a way, not these ones, but the ones back there are similar in a way to the kind of building you see around Regent's Park, that similar sort of architecture, I suppose, Regency style. And I think that's probably why sometimes Brighton is referred to as London on the sea, not just because it's a bustling town, but some of the architecture is similar as well. Taking the coast road out of Brighton, it does have a pretty dramatic coastline as the beaches give way to cliffs there. You can see them on the right, and the waves are really crashing into the side of them at the moment. Might have to pull over and have a look. I did just pull over and have a look at the sea and the cliffs there, but it was very blowy outside and very wet as well, so I didn't stay very long. And I'm a bit pressed for time again today, so I might cut out going inland towards Lewes and just drive along this coast road to Beachy Head, which was kind of the goal of the video anyway, to try and end up there. And I might do Lewes on the way back if I have time, but I mean, there's not really much to talk about going along this coast road. It's kind of these seaside little towns, doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on here, but then in between them there is quite a nice sort of stretch of road running along the sea, and that is quite nice to drive past. But I suspect there are better roads inland if you're thinking of doing this drive yourself. I wouldn't take the coast road because there's more traffic here as well. Whereas I think if you go inland and go cross country, you're gonna find something a bit more interesting than stop-start traffic along the front. But anyway, going to continue driving along here, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more video as I get closer to Beachy Head. Okay, so this is more like it. We've kind of come up slightly away from the coast now, but I think we're still on that coastal road pretty much. But back into the South Downs National Park, and you can see this road sort of stretching into the distance there. There's a bus going up the hill if you can make that out. But yeah, the scenery's dramatically improved over what we were just doing, and the sea sort of lies to the right of this road. Get a glimpse of it as we get around here from a distance. near a river of some sort. Carry on this road for a bit longer, and that's where we get to Beachy Head. But it's a great road, this, and it's a 60 limit, but people seem to drive it a bit slower. But you can get a bit of speed up on these nice, freshly tarmacked roads, and it's a nice drive if people aren't being slow. Right, so here we are then on a really windy Beachy Head. You can see my hair going all over the place, and there are cows in the distance, but they're standing up even though it's raining, which is odd. But yeah, here we are. We got here eventually, and yeah, it's been enjoyable despite the weather today. I should have really carried on last week and made the most of the last of the summer weather, I guess. But fun all the same, and great being back in the Jag for a bit of an adventure. But thanks very much for watching, and next time hopefully a bit more of a road trip in the Jag, and so look out for that. And thanks again for 2,000 subs, it really means a lot, and catch you next time. See you later, bye bye.